Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Paintivity, and I am continuing Cinderella phenomenon. See, I almost screwed it up, but it didn't. Um, I just pretty much woke up, so I'm going to continue where we left off, which is chapter 6, where we're going to find out what the truth is. And I don't know how long the video will be. Like I said, I just woke up and I'm getting ready to go to work, so something quick. We're trying to figure out what Delora and Parfait have to say to Rod and Paintivity. So obviously there's a witch in the castle, or at least so they think. Ow! There we go. Ow! The hazards of recording. Things poke you in the side of the head. So here we go. The truth? My only answer is silence. I shift my gaze to Rod, but he avoids my eyes. What's going on? Princess, it's very likely that this witch in the palace is looking for you. What? I cast a glamour on you a long time ago so that you could remain hidden from magical eyes. I did it to protect you, but this witch in question can see through the spell I've cast on you. It's my belief that they're actively looking for you. I'm also hoping, given the time right now, I'm hoping maybe we get through a chapter. But the story's getting good, so. I close my eyes and massage the temples of my head as I feel a headache coming on. Wait, you said before that the witches want to see their curses unbroken, but this sounds as if they have another motive altogether. What reasons could they have for trailing me? The Tenenbaum has been without a bearer for a long time, ever since the end of the war. A new bearer, however, will soon arise and the crystals ready to support them. Some of the witches, the wicked ones, want to make sure that the Tenenbaum continues to spread darkness even with this new bearer in charge. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? Delora crosses her arms, her expression grim. The title of the bearer is passed down from one descendant to the next. Princess, the last Tenenbaum bearer was the late Queen of Angeal, your mother. I feel my blood go cold. What? As you are the Queen's daughter, you're the next heir. Come your 18th birthday, you'll inherit the title of Tenenbaum bearer. Mother? A witch? Ah, I knew it. I knew something was up. Impossible. Why would you spout such lies? I narrow my eyes at them, searching for some hint that they're lying to me. Delora and Parfait never turn their sad eyes away from me. Rod glances at me briefly before turning away, looking uncomfortable. Hildir, your mother and I used to work together to maintain balance, but then the witch hunt drove her mad and turned her heart to ice. But she never used any magic. I would have known if she was a witch. It's possible that you did in the past, but then it seems she erased all your memories of her true identity. Delora was already able to ascertain that most of your memories of her had been snatched away. Hildir needed you to remain obedient so that when you finally did inherit her role as the bearer, you would continue to do as she wanted. My thoughts feel as if they're spinning endlessly on an axis. The real reason I cursed you was to see if you are truly capable of goodness, Princess. Hildir's influence clung to you even after her death, and we feared that you would continue her previous work. That Angeal might once again fall into darkness if you were not able to help the dark emotions in your heart. So then you cursed me because you were terrified of what I would do if I became the bearer I was? My only answer is silence. Now I understand why people hated me. It was because I am my mother's daughter. I can't help but reach out to touch the pendants on my necklace as a feeling of dread washes over me. We know that there's goodness in you, Princess. We only wanted you to realize it by breaking your curse. Parfait sighs, looking guilty. It was a selfish act on our part, I know. But we couldn't risk another great war. They believed that I would have plunged the world into war? I turned to Rod, who has yet to speak since the conversation started. Did you know about all of this? Everyone knows the story of the Tenenbaum witch and her daughter. Everyone except me. I glanced down at my hands, suddenly feeling numb. I am a witch. And I'll become the Tenenbaum's next bearer. Just the thought of it makes me sick. I think back to my childhood. I can still recall the glares that everyone gave me when I was a child. They were scared of me because I was my mother's daughter? And what about the king? Did he never love me because I was the daughter of a witch? But if that's the case, if my mother was so wicked, then why did the king marry her in the first place? Hildir threatened to kill the woman that he loved if he did not marry her. She threatened to kill Ophelia. Ophelia? So the king has loved Ophelia from the very beginning. I clenched my hands into tight fists. After Mother died, he was able to reunite with his true love, and since then he's treated Emmeline and Rod better than he ever treated me, even though I am his daughter by blood. I want to feel angry about this revelation, but instead I feel a dreary emptiness inside of me. A heavy feeling begins to settle in my chest, suffocating my heart. He never really loved me. Paintivity? Rod's voice snaps me out of my thoughts, and it's when I realize that a stray tear has made its way down my cheek. I quickly wipe it away with the back of my hand, angry at myself for showing weakness in front of them. You must be happy to see me like this. What? Your mother was made queen, and you and your sister became royals overnight. It's like something out of a fairy tale, isn't it? You thought you had the perfect life until I came back into it. I never asked for this to happen, I just wanted to... Rod suddenly moves his hand to Sebby's mouth, muffling whatever other words the plush was going to say for him. What is it you want to say, Rod? It's nothing. I can assure you, however, that the power that comes with the crown has always been irrelevant to my family and I. So stop assuming that everyone around you is after your title or your riches. Did your time with my sister not teach you anything? I'm about to angrily retort when I suddenly stop, my heart sinking. I've already recognized that Emmeline is more complex than I thought she was, and she has also told me that she never wanted to be a princess. My mother wouldn't have married the king if my father were still here. Delora looks between the two of us and sighs. And here I thought your relationship had improved. Now it seems like it's back to square one. I cross my arms and turn away annoyed. Do you have anything else to add, Parfait? If not, I would like to return to the palace. Princess, stay vigilant and be careful about who you trust. Trust? How do you know who I trust? Or whom? It'd be all fancy. What makes you even think I trust you? Oh. The anger I was expecting earlier suddenly rises to the surface. For all I know, Parfait and Delora could be feeding me lies, playing with me the way Delora did when she first cursed me. I don't expect you to believe what we've told you. Perhaps it was not yet the right time to reveal everything to you, but please, you need to be careful. I stand up and look at them, my arms now hanging limply at my sides. How am I meant to trust anyone when all of you have been lying to me this entire time? Paintivity, if you don't believe us, then try asking the king who Hildir truly is. I never even thought about asking the king about Mother. Rod, you should watch your back too. It's possible that this witch in question could be plotting something against the royal family as well. They've been in the palace for a long time after all. She looks at me, then at Rod, her expression somber. I won't be able to stay with you anymore. I had to pick up and leave a few days ago because I was certain he'd caught a trace of my magic. He probably already has. I understand. Anyway, Paintivity's right to return to the palace now. Someone may notice your absence if you're gone much longer. You two should leave now. Let us know if you notice anything unusual. I will. We'll see you again soon, Princess. Remember, stay vigilant. Yeah, good talk, good talk. Yeah, I don't blame them for being a little mixed emotionally. I mean, like, even in my own life, I've come across a situation where something was dropped on me way before I could fully understand what was going on, and you get this physical and emotional response. It just sucks every ounce of energy out of you, and it sucks because you don't know how to react, and then you lash out, and things get crazy, and then you can't stop thinking about it. Like, yeah, I've been there, done that. Like, that was actually a very realistic conversation, if you will, between them. Okay, so Rod and I leave the March Inn in silence. Here, in the secret tunnels, we are suffocated under even more silence, but still neither of us makes an effort to speak. I'm still stuck inside my own mind, sifting through my troubled thoughts. I can't reconcile the fact that the wicked witch who led the witches during the war was my mother. I didn't even realize how many people hated my mother until after she had passed away and they spoke about how cruel a queen she was. I never understood why since she's always been the perfect person in my eyes. I never connected my mother with a Tenenbaum bearer, but what Parfait and Delora just told me makes sense. Was I living a lie all those years? A lie that my mother crafted so that I remained cold and bitter even after she passed away? And Delora and Parfait say I'm meant to inherit the power of the Tenenbaum from my mother. I don't want that burden. I almost bump into Rod's back when he suddenly stops walking. He turns around and looks at me with a serious expression. I can't help but feel judged beneath the weight of that gaze. If you're going to tell me that you never wanted me as your partner because my mother was a witch, then I wasn't going to say that. What? I won't lie. The first time I saw you, I thought you were like your mother. You were cold, harsh, and selfish. I never wanted to have anything to do with you. That was why I was so against this partnership, but you've changed. Rod's expression softens. As you and Em have grown closer, I've seen that you're not like your mother. She speaks fondly of you, and I can tell she really enjoys your company. That's why, even if I do not have plans to break my curse, I will still do what I can to help you break yours. It's the least I can do as your partner. I stare at Rod in shock. This is the first time he's ever been so nice to me. Why are you staring at me like that? I'm only doing this because you're important to my sister. Rod turns away, his face beet red. Liar. Rod reaches up to pinch Sebi's face. Ow! Should we give him the benefit of the doubt? He has helped us out. Let's compliment him and see what happens. Who would have thought you were actually capable of being nice? What? What is that? Was that supposed to be a compliment? Yes, you're always so grumpy. I don't even think I've seen a genuine smile on your face before. I can say the same for you. Birds of a feather flock together then. Rod stares at me dumbfounded. I can't help but smile a little at his expression. Do you really dislike the fact that we're so similar? Rod is still staring at me wide-eyed. You just smiled. I did not. Rod thinks your smile is pretty. I do not. You two really are the same. I take a deep breath to calm the erratic beating of my heart. Anyway, I still want to help you with your curse, Rod. Why do you refuse to break it? Is this really the time to be talking about this? Knowing that, like, we're in the middle of a hallway we shouldn't be in? Rod stares down at his feet, expression melancholy. Because I can't. Or cannot. Rod stops and shakes his head. He says nothing else, and I do not probe him anymore, especially not after seeing the distant look on his face. We walk through the corridor and back to our rooms after we say our goodbyes. I wonder what Rod was going to say. Ah, crap, it's another dream. Mother, look, Eleanor got me this gift. Eleanor? She's my maid and my friend. Princesses don't make friends with their servants. But she's really nice. She even taught me how to braid my hair. Like, those servants are only nice to you because you are the princess. They only pretend to be your friends so that they can have power over you. But Eleanor would never... What reason do I have to lie to you? When have I ever lied to you, little one? You've never lied to me. That's correct. Tomorrow I will remedy the situation. I will hire a new maid. You are not to befriend this one no matter what she says. But Mother, are you arguing with me? No, I'm sorry. How rude. This lady's crazy. Ah, here we are. It's been days since Parfait and Delora revealed my mother's true identity and the inevitable responsibility I am to have on my shoulders once I turn 18. I've been trying to ask the king about Mother, but he is even busier these days than he was before, and it's impossible to find a single moment in the day to speak with him. The fact that I'm a maid makes it even harder to garner his attention. When I'm not on break, I continue to do my duty serving Emmeline. Right now I'm accompanying her as she practices her walk and posture. Ophelia's been helping her, pointing out any mistakes she finds. I know how hard this is, dear. I had to go through this training as well before I married the king. Emmeline allows her shoulders to slouch as she lets out an exasperated sigh. I've always hated these lessons. I thought my posture was fine. This is supposed to refine it, and yet all these lessons I've been doing is hurting my back. Oh, Emmeline, you'll get the hang of this. You just need to keep practicing. But Mother, I've had this same lesson before. Why must I do it again? Because you slouch when you walk, and that is unbecoming of a princess. Emmeline scowls at her mother, and Ophelia's frown falls away as she bursts into laughter. Mother, you're not helping. The atmosphere in the room is far from heavy as Emmeline and her mother continue to conduct their lessons. It's almost the exact opposite of the lessons I had with Mother. Mother always got angry when I made even the smallest mistake. I know this is hard, but as crown princess, all eyes will be on you during the ball. The people there will judge any small mistake you make, which is why you need to be in top form on that night. I know. Ophelia claps her hands. All right, now, start again. Emmeline groans before heading to the far wall and straightening her back. She takes a deep breath, puts a book on her head, and begins to walk. The books fall from her head on the third step. She sighs, moves back, and starts again. Neither of us break Emmeline's concentration by speaking. We stand idly by and watch as she tries time and time again. I'm surprised when Ophelia leans toward me and begins to whisper. I'd been meaning to say this before, but I'm grateful that you're friends with my daughter. I look at Ophelia's smiling face with surprise. I never agreed to be her friend. You're not against the princess making friends with her servants? Why would I be? I actually wish more of the staff here wouldn't be so uptight, since I would love for Emmeline to be on good terms with the people who serve her. Besides, social status is never an obstacle to friendship. Ophelia shifts her gaze back to Emmeline, who's now picking up the book that has once again fallen from her head. No matter your occupation or status, a friend is always a friend. You've given Emmeline the courage she needs to face the many challenges she has ahead of her. In a way, you're like family, since you're always around us. Like family. Come what may, both family and friends are there for you and will accept you for who you are. Even before I was cursed, Emmeline was always trying to be my friend. That means she knew all along who my mother was and still wanted to be my friend. The thought makes me remember what Parfait told me about Mother threatening to kill Ophelia if the king did not marry her. I turn to Ophelia, curious. Your Majesty, may I ask what you know about the late Queen's rule? Ophelia looks at me quizzically, so I quickly add a thoughtless lie. I was not in Angeal and have only heard stories. I just thought it was so hard to believe with how peaceful things are in the palace right now. The kingdom was a dark place back then. People lived in fear under her rule. The king had no real power over Angeal. The witches had free reign over the kingdom. They cast the fairy tale curse incessantly and on a whim. We barely left our houses in fear of becoming cursed. Mother's reign was that terrible? The king still blames himself for the darkness that befell Angeal during that time. This is why he works day in and day out to stabilize the country and to put smiles on everyone's faces. I remember long ago how he told me one of the reasons he would always continue to work hard for this kingdom was because he wanted to make a brighter tomorrow for his children. Ophelia looks confused for a few moments, then brushes off the awkwardness with a small chuckle. He helps the family in his own way. Is it possible that he said that with me in mind and Ophelia's slip-up? But then maybe he was always referring to Emmeline and Rod. The kingdom's come a long way since then, hasn't it? There's still witches here and there, but most of them don't bother others. I pray that the peace we're experiencing right now will last. I see. Thank you for telling me. It is a bit of a dreary topic, but I'm happy to have helped. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call on me. I know it may not be traditional protocol for a queen, but then I do not consider myself a typical queen. I try my best to listen to everyone here, regardless of what their title or name might be. I can only nod at her in response. Princess or maid, the way Ophelia has treated me has never changed. She's always treated me with kindness, regardless of who I am. I never saw it before because I was always so distant from everyone, but now I see that Ophelia treats everyone here with kindness, regardless of social status. I was always frustrated by the servants when they compared Ophelia to Mother, saying that she was superior. But now, I think I understand why they would make such a comparison. This is a pretty long chapter. Emmeline dismisses me after my lessons, and I begin to head immediately back to my room. I've just turned a corner when I notice Sir Alcaster standing before me, scowling. Watch where you're going, child. I quickly avert my gaze, not wanting a confrontation. He always looks at me so strangely, almost like he can see into my mind, or is trying to. My apologies, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster nods his head at me stiffly before walking off. Your pardon, Princess. I turn to stare after him, but he's already turned the corner. My blood becomes cold. Was that just a slip of the tongue? But how else could he know that I'm the princess? Is it possible that he's cursed? No. Somehow that doesn't seem right, but if he does not have the fairy tale curse, could he be the witch that Delora warned me about? What reason would he have for unveiling his identity then, unless he just wants to intimidate me further? It occurs to me that Fritz still remembers who I am. Did he tell his father about me? Now I'm even more confused about who I should trust. Paintivity? I jump when I hear Rod call me. Why is he always in the same place at the same time? Anybody else notice that? His expression slowly creases with something that looks like worry. You're pale. Did something happen? I'm gonna tell him he might know something. Sir Alcaster knows I'm the princess. Do you think he's the witch Delora was talking about? I whisper the words to him, and he responds by raising his eyebrows, looking surprised. What makes you say that? This isn't just because of the standoffish way he acts, is it? You don't believe me, Rod sighs. I never said that I didn't. It's just that we can't just blindly accuse anyone without any real proof. Rod stares at me for a few moments and closes his eyes, his eyebrows slightly furrowed with thought. Sir Fitzgerald also remembers who you are. I don't want to be so suspicious of Fritz, but I don't think blindly trusting him would be right either given these circumstances. You need to stay vigilant around him. If anything happens, you can come talk to me about it. You're worried about me? Rod averts his gaze. Of course I am. Wow, you're actually being honest. Damn it, Sebi. What? Rod glares at Sebi before pinching his cheek. Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for. Dance? But you already know how to dance. What do you have left to practice? Rod does not answer and only walks away. I decide to follow after him. Why did you follow me? I shrug. I wanted to see you practice. To be honest, I wanted to see him dance. I already know that Emmeline's very clumsy when it comes to dancing, but outside of the one practice with Emmeline, I've never seen Rod dance. Emmeline always gloats on his behalf, but I have yet to witness Rod's supposed talent with my own eyes. Our dance together was so short, I barely had any time to judge him. I do not practice with an audience. Why? It's my preference. Rod is easily embarrassed. Rod groans and pinches one of Sebi's cheeks, glowering. Sorry. Rod reluctantly releases the bunny with a sigh. I notice you've been talking more lately, Sebi. Oh, that's because Rod here has been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels. Sebi makes a sound of defeat as Rod once again pinches one of his cheeks. Rod stares at me with wide eyes, and I stare back, beginning to panic. What's wrong? You smiled again. I put a hand to my mouth, flushing. I was smiling again? I never even noticed. It was a pretty smile, Princess, right, Rod? Rod quickly turns away, cheeks slightly peaked. I need to practice now, so I would appreciate you leaving. You did not even command me to leave. What a surprise. Emmeline said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes. Why, so you can judge me? I'm not here to judge you. Why else would you be so keen on watching me? I'm mostly curious. Curious? I wanted to know how good you really were. Then yes, you are judging me. I hold out my hand and he stares, looking taken aback. I should not be scolded for only being curious. Why not just one little dance to prove how talented you are? Rod stares at me for a few minutes before reluctantly taking my hand. Fine, you better not step on my feet. Rod starts leading the dance. He glides us into the imaginary rhythm of a waltz. Even without the music, I'm able to count the steps in my head as I follow his lead. This is different from that short dance we showed Emmeline. Rod's movements are graceful, his touch gentle as he leads me to an underarm twirl. Here we go again. When I come to face him once again, I notice the gentle way he stares at me, the usual hardness of his expressions gone, melted into something relaxed. I find myself staring back at him, looking into his eyes. Perhaps Rod does have some gentleness to him. Our gaze does not break as he twirls me. You have beautiful eyes. I'd be confused too. Rod's eyes widen as soon as mine do. He abruptly lets go of my hands and steps back. I can only stare at him, my face warm. It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear. Damn it, Sebi. Rod says nothing, though his cheeks continue to darken with embarrassment. Oh my. Rod and I turn to look at Emmeline, who is hovering by the door. Excuse me. Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Emmeline and I alone in the room. What just happened? That was a wonderful dance, Paintivity. You were watching? I only just saw the last few minutes, but you know, the two of you really did look like a couple. It was sweet. Couple? Oh, you're blushing. I put a hand on my cheek and turn away with a scowl. I am not. Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing. Do you like Rod? I stare at her. I do not. Also, you're forgetting that I'm a maid who could not be with the prince even if I wanted to. He's grumpy and cold, and even though we are not blood related, he's still my stepbrother. If only Emmeline realized how crazy her words were in light of the truth. Emmeline suddenly looks starry-eyed as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Paintivity. Besides, he seems to like you. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes. Sometimes he says the opposite of what he feels. It's only when you get to know him as well as I do that you realize what his truths are. I can't help but think of Sebi, who always speaks Rod's thoughts aloud when they're contradictory. He was always so mean to Bjorka when we were young. He would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. Then I realized he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then, I knew that he liked her. See, I totally called it. I thought that one day the two of them might even grow to love each other, but Emmeline lets out a long sigh as she directs her attention out the window. His attitude toward her changed ever since he was cursed. Then they grew even more distant when Bjorka found a lover. Is that the reason why you've been going back to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Because you want to bring them back together? Emmeline nods. The three of us were best friends, the three musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you don't mind me asking. But what do you know about his curse? Emmeline stares at me for a few moments before nodding. You're my friend, Paintivity, and I know that I can confide in you. I know that sometimes I'm not trusting enough, but I think Emmeline is still far too trusting. We only know that he has the mermaid's curse. I've read the story so many times, hoping I could figure out some way to break it. I think back and realize I had actually read the beginning of The Little Mermaid a long time ago, but I didn't have the chance to finish it because I was caught by Mother. The Little Mermaid's about a mermaid who trades her voice for legs, right? Yes, she does it so she can be with her prince. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something in exchange. I've heard that the curses are derived from the original tales, but that they're twisted in some way to fit the format of a curse. I nod slowly and thoughtful. I have a strong feeling that Rod's curse is related to Bjorka, but I can't draw the connection. But still, Bjorka might be the key to understanding his curse. If Rod will not divulge anything, the next best chance we have of understanding his curse might be going through Bjorka. Ah, so now she's a... Ooh, chapter 7, yay, be careful what you wish for. So now we're gonna help Rod even though he doesn't want it. Man, it's an odd situation. So you guys know that I'm gonna stop here. It's a good place to stop. Plus I have to go to work, so there's that. Yeah, it's an odd situation. Her and Rod and her mother, and it's a mess. Like, I'm starting to think that Outcaster might not be the bad guy, and that maybe Fritz being so concerned about the princess's status might be the real issue. It's usually a character like you don't see coming, so I think there's something to that, but it is what it is. I'll pick this up, chapter 7, very soon. I don't know, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. I kind of want to break it up for everybody, but we'll see how it goes. So, thank you so much for watching. If you have, I don't know, whatever your thoughts are, if you want to leave them for me in the comments, like, it'd be awesome to, like, talk about this, and since there's more going on in the story now, like, what do you think about it, just in general, like, who do you think the witch is, and what do you think's going on between her and Rod, you know, seeing how she's smart enough to know, like, it's not gonna happen, like, I don't know, what are your thoughts? So, thank you guys so much, and I'll leave everything in the description as usual. Whoa, that's what I get for reading too fast. Anyway, thank you so much for joining the universe, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Paintivity, and today I'm going to be just kind of chilling out and doing Kona. I needed to break it up a little bit from the Cinderella phenomenon. I never get that word right, so I always want to say princess. Whatever. But yeah, I'm going to try and do Kona a little bit. I've changed controllers since I was here last. The woodlots, this was just a little